The school is haunted. In 1 month, 5 students jumped to their deaths. The principal, desperate, brought in a horde of psychics to exorcise the spirits. Whoever succeeds will receive 500,000 yuan. Failure means no one leaves. Lured by the reward, the psychics all scrambled to show off their skills. I, armed with my tarot reading ability, blended in among them. Suddenly, comments appeared before my eyes. Actually, the demon has been hiding among these psychics for a long time. I bet they haven't noticed yet, have they? I'm a half-baked tarot mystic blogger, making a living by live-streaming fortune-telling sessions, all thanks to my ability to see these hidden comments. After angering a billionaire, Mr. Wu, I'm now operating under an alias, only able to use a secondary account and start from scratch, charging 6.6 yuan per reading. My cheap prices usually attract the curious and the gossipy. Today, I started my live stream, and after waiting for half an hour, I finally got one connection. The person didn't turn on their camera. I only heard a hoarse male voice ask, "Is it accurate?" He questioned me right from the start. I stopped shuffling the cards. If you don't believe, then don't bother. Trust what you use, and don't use what you doubt. Even though my current price is 6.6 yuan, the principle remains the same. If he doubted me from the beginning, any self-validation would be useless. He might even hide the truth during the reading. The man's voice hesitated for a moment. I was about to disconnect when he finally made up his mind. "All right, I'll take it," I sighed. "Very well, tell me what you wish to ask." His question was actually quite simple. I want to know if my girlfriend is cheating on me. According to him, they'd been together for 3 months, but recently her attitude had grown cold. I raised an eyebrow and told him to give me numbers to draw the cards. The young man gave me 3, 5, 7. I drew the corresponding cards. The first card, 8 of Swords, reversed a blindfolded figure, hands bound, surrounded by swords. The second, 7 of Cups upright, floating in clouds, filled with various illusions. And the third, 2 of Swords upright, again blindfolded, holding 2 swords. I looked at the cards, then at the comments flashing before my eyes. What is this guy rambling about? He hasn't even won the girl over yet. They haven't even defined their relationship, and he's shamelessly trying to catch her cheating online? Streamer, don't let him fool you. I let out a cold laugh. Of course, he wouldn't tell me the truth. He was probably testing me. There's a significant difference between customers willing to spend hundreds of yuan on a tarot reading and those who only pay 6.6 yuan. The former don't care about the cost. They already believe in tarot and just want an answer. The latter spend little money to play, but want to make a big deal out of it, hoping to get 666 for 6.6 yuan. They want a proportional return on every penny, constantly worried about being scammed. So they test me to see if I can detect their deception during the reading. I didn't hold back, directly exposing him. "You don't even have a girlfriend. What nonsense are you talking about? If you don't tell the truth, I can't do a reading for you." His breathing on the other end faltered for a moment, a little flustered after being exposed. How? How did you know? Can you tell from the cards?" Relying on the comments, I patiently explained. The 2 of Swords. The figures in the cards are blindfolded and surrounded by swords, signifying injury. It clearly represents a closed-off state, a refusal to communicate. Swords are also associated with the element of air, further implying actively avoiding communication, deliberately hiding the truth. Furthermore, the 7 of Cups is too illusory. The existence of this girlfriend you speak of seems like your own delusion. That's why you don't trust me. You're testing me. Honestly, with my half-baked skill level, I couldn't have gotten that answer by reading the cards myself. Luckily, these comments helped me interpret them. Hearing this, the man's voice suddenly became very respectful. "Master Guo, you truly are accurate." He adjusted his tone and asked again, "May I ask another question then? This time I promise I won't hide anything." "Get back in line," I said, then clicked on a new connection invitation. But before I could even connect, my screen went dark. My live stream had been blocked and my account banned. The system reported, propagating superstitious and heterodox beliefs, permanently banned. I surrendered. It had to be a colleague reporting me. This unlucky streamer having to delete accounts and start all over again. Why would they report our streamer? How pathetic. I was completely speechless. Ever since I switched to a secondary account, I've occasionally been reported and banned. This time, I'd just been unblocked, made one connection, and was permanently banned again. Fortunately, my parents are also mystic con artists. Neither of them knows anything, relying solely on their gift of gab. One reads feng shui, the other bazzi. They own a whole string of dummy accounts, constantly scrolling through comment sections. Lately, having nothing better to do, they post, "Fortune teller with over 10 years of experience. Ask me anything and I'll tell you." An experienced master, no fancy words, just direct answers. Not busy now, ask away. I was about to ask my parents to borrow an account when suddenly I received a WeChat friend request. Looking at the ID and profile picture, it was exactly the man from the live stream. "Master Guo, this time I'll tell you the truth. Can you help me?" Along with that message, he sent a 50,000 yuan deposit. "After you're done, I'll transfer another 500,000 yuan to you." My mind was still reeling, but my hand couldn't resist, and a second later, I accepted the 50,000. The moment the 50,000 hit my account, comments flooded in. "Is this for real? Just to pursue one person? This guy is willing to spend 500,000 yuan. If he's resorting to mysticism, how much must the other person dislike him? I'm just saying, wouldn't 500,000 yuan be enough to win her over directly? Oh my god, where do I sign up for this kind of gig?" Even more incredulous than the comments, I asked him, 550,000 yuan. "What do you want me to help you with? It's not really just to pursue that girl, is it?" He typed for a long time, but in the end, sent no text. Instead, he initiated a video call. "Master Guo, can you?" he stammered. "Can you exorcise a demon?" Exorcise a demon? I froze, my heart skipping a beat. What did he mean? Only then did I get a clear look at his face. He was a man in his early 30s, hair disheveled, dark circles under his eyes, looking gaunt as if he'd been awake for several nights straight. Seeing my confusion, he sighed, lowering his voice and stammering, It's haunted, do you understand? Something foul is harming people." As he spoke, the comments section erupted. Why is this guy starting from square one? I thought this was a love fortune-telling session. Where's the grapefruit leaf? Who has that image? Send it quick. Click accidentally, bad luck vanishes. He began to explain the situation simply. It turned out he was Mr. Liu, the homeroom teacher at a private high school. For some unknown reason, the school he worked at had become haunted. No fewer than 10 students claimed to have seen a white-clad female ghost. Initially, the school didn't believe it, but to their horror, within a month, 5 students consecutively jumped to their deaths. On surveillance cameras, they all appeared to be possessed, their necks gripped by something, their toes off the ground, bodies suspended in midair. Their faces were clearly red from suffocation, yet their expressions were eerily vacant. Then, as if an invisible hand shoved their backs, they plummeted to the ground, limbs twisted. Even stranger, all the incidents occurred on the same floor of the same building. Only then did the school panic, seeking out masters for exorcisms everywhere. Mr. Liu, who was in the midst of a promotion, decided to fight for his future. So, he began searching for exorcists through mystic livestream channels. As he told me all this, he was still visibly shaken, his face pale. "I tested you just now, Master. You truly have skill. You must help us." I broke out in a cold sweat listening to him, instinctively wanting to return the 50,000 yuan. This was far too sinister. I dared not accept it. Yet, as I typed in the transfer amount, my heart ached as if being cut. I looked at my locked livestream room, stuck at 6.6 yuan, a place that never saw the light of day. Giving the money back felt like tearing flesh from my own body. Ruined by that billionaire, Mr. Wu, I was now living in hiding, desperately short on cash. Mr. Liu saw my hesitation, gritted his teeth, and upped the price. "Master, I guarantee, if you successfully exorcise the demon, the remaining 500,000 yuan, no, 800,000 yuan will be transferred to your account immediately, not a single penny less." 800,000? My god, how many 6.6 yuan readings is that? I'm already dirt poor, what more is there to fear from ghosts? 800,000 yuan, all things considered, isn't impossible. Maybe this has nothing to do with ghosts after all. Streamer, don't be scared. You're so desperate for money, you've gone mad. This money might be earned with your life, but you might not live to spend it. The comments began to argue, and then one suddenly flashed. Why does this feel so familiar? Oh, I remember now. I've seen this movie. It's called Asterisk. The name that followed was censored, replaced by asterisks. Seeing these comments, my initial fear gradually calmed. Ever since I was a child, I've been able to see these comments. What I experience in their eyes are movies or documentaries. Since this haunting is also a plot point in a film, it means the comments can spoil it for me. With the help of the comments, maybe I really could succeed in exorcising the demon. The more I thought about it, the more logical it seemed. Looking at the 50,000 yuan already in my hands, my head felt hot. I actually agreed to Mr. Liu's request. He was incredibly grateful, quickly sending me the school's address. We agreed I'd come this weekend. Before heading out, I went home. The more amateur the student, the more study tools they seem to have. My parents, though lacking genuine talent, certainly didn't lack any necessary spiritual artifacts, but I didn't know how to use most of them. After much deliberation, I stuffed a stack of yellow talismans into my pocket and grabbed a peach wood sword. Only these two were easy enough to use. With spiritual artifacts on me, I immediately felt much safer. My parents still weren't home. I left them a note, weighting it down with my dad's compass. I've taken the talismans and the peach wood sword. Their work accounts had too many people, so messages never got seen. The most primitive method was always the most effective. That weekend, I arrived at the private high school. Mr. Liu was waiting for me at the gate. He quickly explained the situation, then swiped his card to open the gate. Abruptly, he pushed me inside the school, while he himself remained motionless outside the gate. "What? Why are you pushing me?" I stumbled forward, utterly bewildered. Mr. Liu swallowed, avoiding my question. He hid the panic on his face, forcing out a smile. "Well, I apologize, Master Guo, but I won't be going in with you." He chuckled nervously. "The school is afraid of more incidents, so they've switched to online learning and all staff have gone home. Make yourself at home, just call me when you're done." With that, as if afraid I'd change my mind, he quickly locked the main gate. My eyes widened in shock. I pushed the iron gate, but it wouldn't budge. "You needed a card to leave." "Are you serious? What the hell are you doing?" I yelled at him, dumbfounded. Mr. Liu looked like he was about to cry. "Master Guo, don't blame me. I'm genuinely terrified. I don't dare go in. I believe you can definitely succeed in the exorcism. I'll be going now." Through the iron fence, I watched Mr. Liu turn and run, abandoning me alone in the school, locking me inside the school. "Oh my God, this school really has problems if even a teacher is this scared." The comments flooded in. "So stupid, this protagonist is practically running into a haunted place to die." "It's true, that saying, if you don't seek death, you won't die." Scolded by the comments, I knew they were right. I could only take the abuse and stubbornly continued into the school. The school was located in the suburbs, lavishly built with Western architecture, featuring a rock garden at its center surrounded by an artificial lake. If my dad were here, he'd probably be spouting things about dragons and water, yin and yang harmony, auspicious land, and so on. The vast school was utterly deserted. Only the lonely, eerie sound of class bells and dismissal bells echoed through the air, as if ringing for ghosts. I couldn't help but shiver. Following the comments' guidance, I quickly arrived at the academic building where the students had encountered trouble. Coincidentally, all the incidents had occurred on the 4th floor of the 4th academic building. In tarot, the number 4 often relates to order and stable frameworks, and a school itself maintains a certain structure and order. Now, that order had collapsed, stability was gone, and the sense of security the school once provided had vanished. What exactly happened here? I entered the 4th academic building. Everywhere, motivational slogans related to college entrance exams hung. This building must be for 12th graders. The stairs were hidden in a secluded corner. It took me a while to find them. Just as I was about to step onto the first stair, I suddenly bumped into something. My heart leaped. The thing let out a ghostly shriek, piercing and mournful. A strong force pushed me backward, startling me again, and I staggered a few steps before regaining my balance. My hand fumbled into my pocket, found a yellow talisman, and I hastily threw it forward. I heard another ear-piercing scream, but this time I realized it didn't sound like a ghost. It sounded more like a girl. I looked up, and before me was a female student in uniform. She was just as frightened, clutching the yellow talisman I'd thrown, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Her gaze dropped to the peachwood sword hanging at my hip, and only then did her expression soften. "Oh, it's an exorcist. You scared me half to death." The girl's face still held a look of terror. I recalled Mr. Liu mentioning that the school was conducting online classes, so I couldn't help but ask, "What are you doing at school?" Hearing my question, she gave an awkward smile, unconsciously tightening her grip on the talisman. "The college entrance exam is coming up, so I came to school to study." "Study? Aren't you afraid of seeing ghosts?" Seeing my continued suspicion, the girl blushed, very embarrassed. My home doesn't have a place to study, so I can only come to school. It's okay if I see ghosts, I just need quiet." After speaking, she looked at me with a helpless expression. I opened my mouth, unsure what to say. Her school uniform had been cut short, revealing bare calves as if it didn't quite fit. In that moment, I understood her circumstances. She caught my gaze, her face reddened, and she quickly left. I watched her silhouette disappear, then suddenly noticed an extra tarot card at my feet, dropped when I threw the talisman. I picked it up. It was card 13, Death. Again, the number 4 and Death. "Oh my God, it's making me shiver," comments flashed by. "What's going on? Is she going to die?" Who said death necessarily means actual death? It could be rebirth. What are you arguing about? Only you understand that. A haunted school, the death card appearing, of course it's related to death. Suppressing my horror, I ignored the squabbling in the comments and continued upward. I gradually realized that on every floor of this building, there were a few students staying at school for special reasons. They were also scared, but with nowhere else to go besides school, they had no choice but to endure the haunting. As I passed, their eyes, filled with hope, fixated on the peach wood sword at my hip. I sighed and went up to the 4th floor, expecting to find a gloomy, eerie place. Instead, the floor was bustling, filled with all sorts of exorcists. Their expressions subtly changed when they saw me. Just then, I received a message from Mr. Liu. He had actually created a group chat for all the spiritualists. Only the master who successfully exorcised the demon first would receive the remaining payment. If no one succeeded, no one would be allowed to leave. Seeing the group message, everyone couldn't help but complain. No one paid attention to the latter sentence, their eyes were fixed on the former. Damn it, only one person gets the remaining payment? Does he think we're fools? If I'd known this, I wouldn't have come. 600,000 yuan for such a petty sum, and we have to compete with so many people. A feng shui master, Mr. Yang, began to curse loudly. The young priestess next to him gasped. How much? 600,000 yuan. He told me 300,000 yuan. Another yelled, damn it, 300,000 yuan? I only got 200,000. Realizing they had been deceived, others joined in the uproar. The whole group immediately compared notes on the promised amounts. To their surprise, Mr. Liu had quoted different prices to everyone. I recalled his weak, frightened demeanor, yet he had managed to embezzle a significant sum while appearing so helpless. You really can't judge a book by its cover. The amounts didn't match. The group instantly rebelled. Anyone who takes this job is an idiot. A group aggressively ran towards the school gate, but the iron gate was locked tight. There was no way to escape. Some, who didn't believe in evil spirits, tried to climb over the iron fence to get out. But the moment he touched the fence, he cried out in agony, quickly retracting his hand. It's electrified. Ding dong, Mr. Liu sent a flurry of messages to the group. Everyone has already received their deposits, haven't they? Smiley face emoji. So, let the exorcism begin. Until someone succeeds, the gate won't open. Good luck. P.S. The gate is electrified, so watch out. Seeing these messages, the atmosphere instantly grew tense and suffocating. Is he serious? This is illegal detention. Mr. Yang, the feng shui master, cursed loudly again. Wait a minute. The young priestess realized the problem. How did he know we wanted to leave? Her expression changed as she stared at a camera mounted on the wall. A dark red light was blinking, meaning the camera was on. And such cameras were everywhere in the school. I instantly understood. The school staff were monitoring us. Call the police. The young priestess immediately pulled out her phone, then looked incredulous. Why is there no signal? Impossible. If there's no network, how did Mr. Liu send those messages? She tried to send messages in the group chat, but found that the chat had just been dissolved. The network had been cut off. The situation became incredibly strange, and the students studying in the school, drawn by our commotion, also changed their expressions. This meant they, too, were being held captive like us. What made the situation even worse was when I saw new comments. Actually, the demon in the school has been hiding among these people for a long time. I bet they haven't noticed yet, have they? Seeing the comment, goosebumps instantly rose on my skin. Oh my God, is that true or false upstairs? Another spoiler dog, I give up. Streamer, be careful, don't let the ghost harm you. I looked around suspiciously. There were a total of 6 students and no fewer than 20 exorcists. Among those present, who could be the demon? The female student I had bumped into earlier didn't believe she couldn't leave. She pulled out her student ID and swiped it at the school gate. The system displayed a message for 2 seconds, then an alert sounded. Invalid. The girl was stunned for a moment, then tried swiping her card again. Still invalid. Seeing this, everyone present realized that we were truly trapped. The students looked awkward, their eyes sweeping over us. Aren't you all exorcists? Then quickly exorcise the ghost and get us out of here. Hearing this, the entire school fell silent for a moment and the atmosphere grew awkward. Seeing this, the students were horrified, their eyes filled with suspicion. So many people, could they all be fakes? No, how could that be? A few men, feeling their reputation at stake, quickly denied it. Mr. Yang took the lead, hastily trying to save face in front of the students. Exorcise? We'll exorcise now. It's 5:00 p.m. We'll still be done in time for dinner. A few loudly boastful men led the others, aggressively heading back to the fourth floor where the incidents had occurred. The sunset painted the horizon blood red. The lights in the academic building were dim, and hurried, whispering footsteps echoed in the hallway. Everyone scurried, heads bowed, like a flock of rats crossing a street. It was early autumn, yet the academic building was chillingly cold. I saw the young priestess clutching her thin coat tightly. She sneezed, frowning. Don't you all think the temperature in here is a bit too low? There seemed to be a chill. The slender shamaness also shivered, tightening the eagle-feathered cap on her head. Maybe the air conditioning in the classrooms hasn't been turned off, the female student said hesitantly. I also subconsciously feel cold, but this cold isn't like air conditioning. It feels like an entity, like a cold snake slithering across my skin. The portly Father Michael, walking ahead, turned and glanced at us disdainfully. Who says it's cold in here? I'm practically dying from the heat. The layers of fat on his body jiggled with every step up the stairs. He looked like he was in a sauna, sweat seeping from every pore, soaking the silver cross around his neck. Father Michael constantly pulled out tissues to wipe his sweat, panting heavily. What do these skinny girls know? He thought aloud. It's clear this school is truly desperate if they've even resorted to inviting a priest. Father Michael sighed, stopping at the fourth floor. Finally, we're here. He leaned against the wall, rubbing the cross on his chest, still gasping. Meanwhile, Mr. Yang, the Feng Shui master, had arrived on the fourth floor a few steps ahead of us and was already preparing for the exorcism with some of his disciples. One disciple set down his backpack and, to our surprise, pulled out a black chicken, its feet bound and it unconscious. Mr. Yang took it, holding the chicken by its feet. In his hand, he deftly wielded a sharp knife, making a slit in the black chicken's neck. Dark red blood dripped into a basin. After draining the blood, he didn't look up, extending his hand towards his disciple. Black dog's blood? The disciples looked at each other in a panic, stammering, "Sorry, master, it ran away on the way here." "You idiots!" Mr. Yang suddenly glared, cursing continuously. "You fools, you can't even keep track of a dog." The disciples, scolded and knowing their fault, bowed their heads and stood in line. Mr. Yang narrowed his eyes, thought for a moment, then looked at his youngest disciple, Alex. "If there's no black dog's blood, then fine, give me your hand." Although Alex looked utterly confused, he eagerly extended his hand. His master grabbed his wrist and asked, "You haven't broken the rules, have you? You're still a virgin, right?" A flicker of embarrassment crossed Alex's face. Seeing everyone staring, his neck immediately flushed red. "Oh, of course, only I'm still obedient." The master nodded in satisfaction, then pricked Alex's fingertip, mixing the pure Yang blood with the black chicken's blood. Then Mr. Yang handed the basin of pungent blood to his disciples. "Later, after I draw out the ghost, watch where I scatter the rice and throw the blood towards it. Remember, don't stop until I say so." Mr. Yang used cinnabar to draw a talisman on yellow paper and stuck it to the hallway floor where the students had jumped. Immediately, he struck the first gong. His expression was solemn, his mouth mumbling incantations too fast for me to understand. The entire scene was silent, the air thick with tension. His disciples stood beside him, solemn and focused on their master. Dong, the second gong rang out. A strong wind rose and a chilling aura enveloped us. The yellow talismans on the ground scattered in the wind. Tall trees, reaching up to the fourth floor, rustled, their leaves flying like piercing blades. Mr. Yang narrowed his eyes, deftly dodging the flying leaves, and struck the golden gong once more. Dong, the third sharp gong echoed, and the sky darkened as if a demon were wailing. Mr. Yang suddenly opened his eyes wide, stopped his incantations, and with his right hand, spat a handful of glutinous rice forward. The rice seemed to hit something, then suddenly fell straight down. "Quick, throw the blood!" Mr. Yang, seeing this, shouted urgently. The disciples, following orders, immediately dipped their fingertips into the black blood and flicked it towards where the glutinous rice had fallen. The black blood splattered, dyeing a patch of rice red, but it was useless. The hallway remained dark, and the chilling aura grew more palpable, as if hundreds of cold snakes were coiling around them, making their entire bodies tremble. The comments section was dumbfounded. I have no idea. Can someone explain if this exorcism is successful or not? Of course it's not successful. Haven't you seen lamb chinging movies? Usually when ghosts encounter pure yang blood, they smoke like grilled meat. What's happening? Mr. Yang also looked incredulous. He snatched the basin of black blood from his disciple's hand and hurled the entire thing forward. Aside from blood splattering all over the floor, it still had no effect. The talisman on the ground was suddenly ripped apart, caught in a fierce gust of wind. Abruptly, a horrifying scream erupted. The female student I had bumped into earlier slowly floated upward, her feet leaving the ground. Her body contorted into an inverted Z shape, her head tilted backward as if her throat was being squeezed. Her face was expressionless, her soul seemingly sucked out, completely blank. She was pulled by some invisible force, floating towards the location where the previous incidents had occurred. Her classmate next to her was trembling with fear, crying out and grabbing at the girl's pant leg, trying to pull her back to the ground, but it was useless. "Aunties and uncles, you're all exorcists. Help us," they cried, pleading with us. The dumbfounded group suddenly snapped to attention. Some grabbed their spiritual artifacts, others muttered incantations. What in the world is happening? Mr. Yang finally realized something was amiss, grabbing his disciple by the collar and questioning him. The disciple responsible for preparing the black chicken knelt down with a thud, utterly terrified. "I'm sorry, Master, I made a mistake. You told me to buy a rooster, but I forgot in the moment. When I got here, I realized I'd bought a hen." "A hen?" Mr. Yang looked at the chicken, his brow still furrowed. "Even if it's a hen, it shouldn't be such a big problem." Hearing this, Alex, the youngest disciple, finally couldn't hold it together anymore. His legs buckled, and he hugged his master's thigh. "It's me, it's my fault, I'm not a virgin anymore, I'm sorry, Master." Mr. Yang's eyes bulged, and he swung to slap him. "Stop hitting him, come help quickly." The young priestess called out to him. The girl's leg had already swung over the low railing, on the verge of falling. With great effort, everyone desperately grabbed one of her legs, barely maintaining her balance. Father Michael sprinkled holy water into the air, mumbling scriptures. However, it seemed unsuitable for this soil and had no effect. The shamaness also quickly unfastened the pouch from her body, rummaging through it. "I also brought black chicken blood, wait for me." But it was too late. The pulling force on the girl suddenly intensified. Panicked and unsure what to do, I pulled out a few yellow talismans from my pocket and threw them. They hit the air, which contained cinnabar, and actually emitted a plume of green smoke. It seemed my father's spiritual artifacts asterisk did have an effect. Overjoyed, I quickly let go of the girl, immediately drew the peachwood sword from my hip, and thrust it into the air in front of her. Besides me, several other peachwood swords also thrust forward, wielded by other Taoist priests. "Save the person first, I'll deal with you later." Mr. Yang snapped at his disciple, then opened his ink box and sprayed ink towards the invisible ghost in the air. The invisible ghost, caught between the two attacks, loosened its grip on the girl's neck. Everyone pulled back together. The young priestess shouted, and the girl was gradually pulled back into the hallway. The shamaness, having just killed a black chicken, quickly drew a talisman, mixing it with the blood. All right, everyone move back." Then, chanting, she scooped up the basin of blood and flung it forcefully into the air. The force holding the girl immediately dissipated. Beneath the foul stench, the surroundings cleared, and the violent wind gradually subsided. The girl's blood-stained face slowly regained consciousness. At this moment, her two legs were dangling over the railing, one suspended, the other held by everyone. Seeing her precarious position, she instantly turned pale with terror. "It's okay, the evil spirit has been scared away," the young priestess comforted her. Everyone, with a flurry of hands and feet, tried to pull the girl back into the hallway. But the next moment, the girl's pupils dilated and her face filled with horror. She let out a desperate scream, then fell straight down. She actually still fell. "Help me," the girl's voice faded. I frantically leaned over the railing and looked down. Her eyes were wide open, the back of her head having hit a large rock squarely on the pavement. Blood spread everywhere. The girl was dead. Beside her, the yellow talismans I had thrown were scattered. Among them was a tarot card, the Tower. On the card was a tower struck by lightning, flames raging, figures falling from the windows. So that's it. So that's it. Death and the Tower. The tarot had foreshadowed her death. The girl was dead. Everyone exchanged stunned glances. How could this be? We clearly repelled the female ghost. We clearly had her leg. Why did she still fall? Looking at the chaotic scene on the ground, no one spoke for a moment. The young priestess suddenly stumbled back a few steps in horror. No, something's wrong. She pulled out her compass. The needle spun wildly, unable to stop. Immediately, she looked up, her fearful eyes sweeping across everyone present. What's wrong? The shamaness asked suspiciously, wiping blood from her hands. She shouldn't have fallen, the young priestess struggled to say. We clearly had her, but she still died. There are only two possibilities. Either she jumped herself or one of us pushed her down. The moment her words ended, everyone's expressions changed, and the atmosphere instantly turned strange. The student couldn't have jumped herself, so only the second possibility remained. The young priestess's eyes swept over us. Who grabbed the girl's leg just now? The scene was divided into two groups based on whether they had touched the girl's leg in the final moments. A few Taoist priests, the shamaness, Father Michael, and Mr. Yang with his disciples were using spiritual artifacts to fight the ghost, and ultimately did not touch the girl. We were in the safe zone group, above suspicion of pushing her. Everyone else, however, could be the culprit. Father Michael suddenly cleared his throat. But shouldn't we only suspect the students? We exorcists don't even know this girl. There's no reason for us to harm her, right? The students, surprised, retorted, Are we crazy? Why would we harm our friend? On the contrary, who knows if you're all fakes? The two sides argued incessantly. The young priestess, beads of sweat on her forehead, stopped them. Stop talking. She raised the continuously spinning compass in her hand. The one who harmed her is not human. It's a demon disguised as a human hiding among us. Her voice grew even more serious. Furthermore, it's very possible there's more than one. Before my eyes, comments whizzed by. Looks like someone smart is finally figuring it out. They finally realize the demon is among them. Anyone spoil it? Who's the demon? I'm so curious. I know, among the students. The last comment flashed by too quickly. I didn't even see it clearly before it vanished. I inwardly regretted it, wanting to search for more spoilers, but then saw a new one. No spoilers. If I spoil, I'll report everyone. It made me want to spit blood. Currently, 5 students remained, 2 boys, 3 girls. They all looked normal. Because of the young priestess's words, everyone began to eye each other suspiciously, and a silence enveloped us. The shamaness was the first to break the deadlock. Then let's test everyone one by one. We have black chicken blood, cinnabar ink, and glutinous rice. Whoever dares not touch it is a demon. With that, she laid out the items she had mentioned on the ground. Hearing this, the young priestess immediately proved her innocence. She rolled up her sleeve, dipped her entire finger into the bloody water, then dabbed it onto the glutinous rice beside it. See? I'm fine, I'm human. With her setting an example, everyone quickly lined up to test themselves. The others watched nervously, worried both that the next person would be a demon, and that they wouldn't asterisk. When there were only about 10 people left, the academic building's loudspeaker suddenly blared with a piercing noise. I couldn't help but cover my ears. After the static came a familiar voice, reminding everyone once more, only the one who successfully exorcises the demon first will receive the remaining payment. Only one person, remember. The successful one should come to the broadcasting room to find me. It was Mr. Liu's voice, the man who brought me here. Wasn't he too scared to enter the school? How could he be broadcasting from inside? As the broadcast ended, Mr. Yang's eyes darted around, then he signaled to his disciples. Suddenly, they drew their peach wood swords and began randomly stabbing at the remaining 10 people. What's the point of testing one by one? Better to just act directly. The other Taoist priests' faces changed, and they immediately grabbed their swords and chased after them. We can't let them get ahead. In an instant, the scene erupted into chaos. Those 10 people screamed and scattered, running into classrooms, downstairs, hiding in restrooms, while the Taoist priests clung to their heels like cats to mice, chasing them further and further away. Soon, only shouts and pleas could be heard. No one was in sight. Seeing this, the other exorcists snapped to attention, also pulling out their spiritual artifacts and joining the chase, cursing as they ran. Damn it, these people have no rules. In a flash, the entire building was a free-for-all. I was about to join the chase when I suddenly saw comments. Streamer, absolutely do not go. Staying put is the safest. Indeed, horror movie protagonists worldwide are equally stupid. They could team up but insist on splitting up. My steps faltered, and I stopped immediately. Why would following be dangerous? I felt a little doubtful, turning my head to look around several times. Father Michael had initially wanted to go, but alas, his bulky frame left him panting after 2 steps, forcing him to stop. The shamaness and the young priestess, meanwhile, hadn't moved an inch. The young priestess looked at the compass in her hand, her brow still tightly furrowed. Why do I still feel like something isn't right? She suddenly realized something, turned around, leaned against the railing and looked down. Her face instantly turned ashen. What's wrong? I asked her. The young priestess stiffly raised her hand and pointed downwards. I followed her gaze and immediately broke out in a cold sweat. The female student's body, which should have been lying in a pool of blood, had vanished. No, not only had the body disappeared, but even the blood on the ground was gone, as if nothing had ever happened, leaving only a pile of yellow papers. The comments trembled. Oh my God, you scared me senseless. It's not scary, there's nothing to be afraid of. If you're too lazy to get out of bed, just pee in it. The young priestess's hand, holding the compass, trembled violently. The needle was still spinning uncontrollably. Father Michael and the shamaness's expressions also became grim. Now, let's go to the broadcasting room. The shamaness looked at us. There's definitely something else hidden here. We must find Mr. Liu and get a clear explanation. Otherwise, I fear none of us will escape. The broadcasting room seemed to be on the 4th floor of the administration building, directly opposite the 4th academic building. That was quite strange. What exactly did this Mr. Liu want? To suddenly show his face and say something like that, causing everyone to fall into chaos and compete against each other. I'm the only one thinking that Mr. Liu might not be alive anymore, right? I looked at the comments, and my heart skipped a beat again. If Mr. Liu wasn't human, then what was waiting for us in the broadcasting room? The 4 of us descended the stairs, our messy footsteps echoing in the stairwell. Doesn't everyone think it's too quiet? Father Michael wiped cold sweat from his forehead, the layers of fat on his body trembling. Hearing him, I also realized that compared to the chaos just now, the entire academic building was utterly silent. No, those people should still be playing cat and mouse. The shamaness, walking ahead, suddenly stopped. Her back was to us, her shoulders trembling continuously. Dead. More people are dead, she choked out. What? We quickly craned our necks to look ahead. In the corner of the stairwell, a pile of Taoist priests lay tangled together. They looked like they'd been skewered like grilled meat. All of them had wide, unseeing eyes and red handprints on their necks, as if they'd been strangled to death. Even stranger, their faces bore the same eerily vacant expressions as the students who had died in the school. The further down we went, the more exorcists we found dead on each floor. Piles of them, like garbage waiting to be collected. So many deaths sent shivers down all our spines. This entire 4th academic building had truly become a graveyard. Father Michael noticed something unusual. Everyone who died is an exorcist. There isn't a single person in a student uniform. Where are those other students? Only then did we realize the 5 students had all vanished. Suddenly, from beneath a pile of corpses, a ghost crawled out. The shamaness instinctively grabbed a handful of glutinous rice and sprinkled it. I grabbed a yellow talisman and slapped it on to block it. The ghost shrieked in alarm, quickly opening its mouth to explain, "It's me, I'm human, don't attack." He tore off the talisman, brushed the rice off himself, revealing a familiar face. It was Alex, Mr. Yang's youngest disciple. "I'm not dead yet. What exactly happened?" The shamaness asked him, "What's with this situation?" Alex's eyes slowly filled with horror. He swallowed. Initially, my master and I were chasing those people, but as soon as we chased them down the stairs, they all vanished, not a single one was left. Then I saw Master being strangled by something, hanging in midair. His breathing grew ragged. Suddenly, 2 students appeared in midair in the classroom. Seeing Master hanging there, they started to laugh. I knew something was wrong. Another senior disciple and I charged with our swords, but they vanished again. When I turned back, I saw the other senior disciples also hanging in midair. He grew agitated. "They're all dead, those students are demons." The shamaness felt confused. "Then why are you all right? Why didn't they kill you?" Alex opened his mouth, his face flushing. I lay beneath Master's body, pretending to be dead, that's how I escaped. Don't look down on me," he shouted, seeing our expressions. "Someone has to survive, right?" Father Michael clutched his cross, leaning against the wall, exhausted. What a karma to bear. No, this isn't an ordinary ghost at all. The young priestess's face grew increasingly pale. She finally understood the meaning of the compass spinning continuously. What we're seeing isn't the real world at all. Perhaps ever since we entered the school, we've been under a demonic illusion, walking into a hallucination created by the evil spirit. From the very beginning, there was only one demon. Those students were merely illusions. The female student essentially jumped herself, which is why her body downstairs vanished without a trace. And the method of finding ghosts with black chicken blood is completely ineffective. The urgent task now is to find Mr. Liu. He's the one who lured us here. He must be hiding something he hasn't told us. Whether it was because the young priestess had exposed the demonic illusion or not, the school's landscape suddenly changed completely. Originally, opposite the fourth academic building was the administration building, but now it was gone. Instead, two diverging paths appeared out of thin air. Both were shrouded in thick fog, making it impossible to see what lay within. The young priestess sat down, picked up two pebbles, and threw them to either side. Both directions were the same, not a single echo returned. What do we do? Alex's eyes widened. In this situation, if we take the wrong path, it could be a death trap. The compass in the young priestess's hand was useless. Besides spinning continuously, it couldn't indicate any direction. The glutinous rice in the shamaness's hand was all gone. She couldn't ask the rice anymore. Father Michael and Alex were also completely helpless. I looked at the comments. Oh my God, this is too scary. Only a ghost would know the right path. Wait, let me drag the progress bar back and check. Why is the latter part paid content? I don't have a membership. Can someone lend me one? Go to the seafood market and buy one. No need for upstairs. Isn't Macau Palace better? Macau Palace is a luxury integrated resort in Macau, China. A flurry of comments then started discussing how to find pirated content. Not a single person would give me directions. I gave up. Fine, I'll do it myself. I took out my tarot cards and began to shuffle them, preparing a two-choice spread. The other four looked at me with suspicion. Aren't you a Taoist priest? How do you know about this too? Taoist priest? What Taoist priest? I followed their gaze to the peachwood sword at my hip and explained, I borrowed this from my parents. I'm actually a tarot reader. The shamaness snorted in disdain. Oh, another fraudster. I let out a cold laugh. You're a fraud yourself. If you truly had abilities, a little prayer dance to the spirits would have been enough to send the ghost away just now. Why bother slaughtering chickens? The shamaness glared at me. What do you know? My method isn't fraud. I just rely a bit on luck and my state of mind. When I'm in a good state, I can even tell your ancestors' names and where they're buried. What? I ignored her. The young priestess looked at me thoughtfully. Is your reading accurate? It absolutely has to be. I prayed silently, then drew 5 cards. I flipped the first card, representing our current state, 2 of swords upright. The figure in the image was blindfolded, sitting still with turbulent waves behind them. That was exactly our current state, bewildered, unsure what to do. Suddenly, I remembered that when I first did a reading for Mr. Liu on the live stream, I had also drawn this card. Back then, he had hidden a lot of information, and now it had appeared again. Sure enough, he was still concealing quite a bit. Pushing that thought aside, I flipped 2 cards for the right path. The first, 3 of swords reversed with 3 swords piercing a heart. The second, 10 of swords upright with 10 swords piercing a body. Comments flew by, this is terrible. These 2 cards are practically screaming death. Not just that, 13 swords is total death. Seeing so many swords, the other 4 also fell silent. I flipped the 2 cards for the left path. The first, representing the near future, the devil, upright. My breath hitched for a moment. Immediately, I quickly flipped the card for the further future, and it revealed the Wheel of Fortune. I suddenly breathed a sigh of relief, cold sweat breaking out. The devil's bondage might push us into a dangerous situation, but the Wheel of Fortune would become an opportunity to break the deadlock. I almost thought both paths were dead ends. Luckily, there was still a glimmer of hope. What does it mean? The young priestess asked anxiously. I told her, go left. Perhaps we can escape this dangerous situation and find a way out. Can we trust it? Alex asked, looking skeptical. Just a few pieces of paper can tell us the right direction. Father Michael, however, stood steadfastly behind me. I believe it. We have no other choice anyway. The young priestess and the shamaness also thought the same. There was no other choice. I looked at Alex. If you don't trust me, then go right. I definitely won't stop you. If he didn't trust me, even if he went left and encountered something unusual, he would still blame me, thinking I led him astray. It was better to let him choose for himself from the start. Right then, I'll go right, he retorted defiantly. Then he stepped onto the right path. But after 2 steps, seeing no one follow, he turned back and asked uncertainly, "Do you all believe her?" The young priestess neither confirmed nor denied, simply telling him, "You go your way, maybe the path you chose is the right one." Alex said nothing more, stubbornly walking into the branching path shrouded in fog. "Well, let's go then," Father Michael pointed to the left. "Wait!" The young priestess raised a hand to stop him. Father Michael turned, looking at her in surprise. The next second, Alex's cries for help echoed from the right path. He sounded as if something was muffling his mouth, his voice terrified but faint. None of us dared to go rescue him. We could only listen as his cries for help grew weaker. 5 minutes passed like this. The fog suddenly dissipated, and the right branching path vanished, replaced by an artificial lake. And Alex, the youngest disciple, had fallen into the lake, his limbs tightly bound by algae, dead in the water. The left branching path also revealed itself. The administration building stood majestically before us. Father Michael, terrified, clutched his cross, mumbling scriptures for the departed. "You didn't save him just now, so what good is pretending to be kind now?" The shamanist tugged at Father Michael's sleeve, cutting him off. "Let's go to the broadcasting room." So many had died in such a short time, we were all numb. I followed the young priestess up the stairs, my face expressionless. Again, the 4th floor. Again, the number 4. Why did it keep circling back to this number? The administration building was very quiet, probably because all the teachers were on leave. The young priestess was about to push open the broadcasting room door, but I quickly stopped her. Recalling the comments warning that Mr. Liu in the broadcasting room might not be human, I handed the young priestess a talisman, cautioning her, "Be careful." She raised an eyebrow in surprise, taking the talisman. "Thanks." Then she continued to push open the door. "We're here, Mr. Liu." Her voice cut off abruptly, followed by a piercing scream. "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Mr. Liu, who had lured us here, was now suspended in midair, just like the students who had died earlier, being strangled and pulled out the window. But the only difference was that his face wasn't vacant. On the contrary, he was fully conscious, gasping for air, his hands flailing helplessly in the air. The young priestess suddenly charged in, running towards Mr. Liu, grabbing his pant leg. Seeing us, he looked overjoyed, struggling to speak. "Help, save me." His voice was as weak as a whisper. The shamaness's exorcism tools were all depleted. I only had my peach wood sword left. I quickly took 2 steps forward, swung my sword, and thrust it into the air behind Mr. Liu. But the invisible ghost was faster, immediately knocking the young priestess away, dodging my sword, and pulling Mr. Liu out the window. Mr. Liu hung suspended in midair, far from the windowsill. We couldn't possibly reach him. The few of us watched helplessly, thinking we'd have to just stand by and watch him fall to his death. But for some reason, the evil spirit slowly didn't let go. Instead, it seemed to be controlling Mr. Liu to confront us. At this rate, even if he didn't die from the fall, he would die from suffocation. "Wait, don't kill him. That's my 600,000 yuan remaining payment." The shamaness cried out angrily, afraid her duck was about to fly away. What a karma to bear, what a karma. Father Michael couldn't stand the sight, closing his eyes and taking a deep breath. Comments appeared. "Actually, if they just find out the truth of the matter, they can escape alive." What does that mean? What truth? The truth about the female ghost's death and why she's harming people. According to the comments, from the very beginning, the one who wanted us to come to the broadcasting room wasn't Mr. Liu at all, but the evil spirit. It definitely wanted to meet us for some reason. My eyes sharpened, about to read more, when a comment flashed. I reported all the spoilers. "No need to thank me. That's overly enthusiastic. Couldn't you have left a few lines for me?" Having no other choice, I helplessly took out my tarot cards. "What are you doing?" the young priestess asked, her eyes suspicious. "Soul calling," I replied. After shuffling the cards, I looked at Mr. Liu, who was gasping for air, strangled, and the invisible ghost behind him. "Do you need us to find out the truth about your death?" I asked, repeating the question I'd seen in the comments. "Who are you talking to?" The shamaness froze for a moment. I ignored her. The next moment, a gust of wind suddenly rose outside the window. It flipped open the first card before me, Justice, Upright. Not only did it mean correct, but it was also the card following the Wheel of Fortune. It seemed we had seized the opportunity the Wheel of Fortune had granted us. I was overjoyed. Justice? An evil spirit demanding justice? The shamaness glanced at it, then let out a laugh. Father Michael quickly covered her mouth. Don't talk nonsense. A wound suddenly appeared on Mr. Liu's body outside the window, like he'd been scratched by animal claws. Seeing this, I quickly warned the shamaness, if you want your 600,000 yuan, then keep quiet. She said nothing more. I asked again, who are you really? Why are you in this school? This time, I manually flipped a single card, Page of Pentacles, upright. The image was of an apprentice, but outside the window, a strong gust of wind helped me flip another card, the Hierophant, upright, signifying a school. Combined, the two cards meant school apprentice. Wasn't that a student? My eyes widened in shock. This meant the ghost had once been a student at this very school. So you were a student here, then why did you kill your classmates? I swallowed. This time, I didn't manually flip the card. Outside the window, a whirlwind roared, seemingly carrying the boundless anger of the student's spirit. A card was blown open by the wind, 7 of Swords, reversed. On the card, a figure stood alone, sword in hand, leaving a camp. The few cannot stand against the many, ostracized and isolated. Swords relate to injury. Perhaps it wasn't just isolation but also violence. So she had suffered school bullying. I thought for a moment and asked, you were bullied. The people who died were your classmates who harmed you. Right? My hand flipped a card. Again, Page of Pentacles, upright. I suddenly realized. No mistake, she's avenging those who wronged her. The shamaness and a few others standing nearby listened, bewildered. So this ghost was a student here, died from bullying, and is now back for revenge? I nodded. So that's it. The shamaness slapped her thigh, looked out the window, and laughed. Girl, don't worry. Now that we know the truth, once we get out, we will definitely get justice for you. Now, quickly let Mr. Liu down. That's my 600,000 yuan. But Mr. Liu remained suspended, and 2 cards before me were again flipped by the wind. It was the Devil, upright, and the Hierophant, upright again. I looked down at the Devil card. On it, a demon used iron chains to bind Adam and Eve, signifying control, bondage, sex without love. And the Hierophant, besides representing educational institutions like schools, can also represent a teacher. A teacher, bondage, sex without love, Adam and Eve, forbidden fruit, and the devil. Why these 2 cards? I suddenly looked up. Mr. Liu harmed you too, didn't he? He violated you. Thinking of this, everything made sense. Why was Mr. Liu afraid to stay at school? Why was he being held hostage by the evil spirit? Because he was the one who harmed her. He was also an object of her revenge. I recalled Mr. Liu's strange, love fortune-telling live stream session for the first time. Now I understood that what he truly wanted to know then was probably not about a cheating girlfriend, but about the female ghost. At that time, among the 3 cards that appeared, there were also 2 sword cards, 8 of Swords, reversed, blindfolded and hands bound, along with 2 of Swords, upright, also blindfolded. In reality, the one who was blindfolded and hurt was actually the female student's spirit. Whether it was the female ghost's response or not, the wind carried the Justice card, floating it in midair. The comments were also as angry as I was. Is this a mouse? Sorry, typo. Is this a teacher? I couldn't help but look for an explanation. It turned out the girl had tried to save herself. After being bullied at school, she had thought of seeking help from a teacher. But to her horror, in this broadcasting room, she was violated and killed by the teacher she trusted. The students who died were all the ones who had bullied her. This Mr. Liu really deserves to die. So disgusting. I looked out the window, at the 4th floor of the academic building opposite, and finally realized that the number 4 wasn't the important thing. What was important was that the 4th floor of the academic building and the broadcasting room were directly opposite each other. Jumping from there would make it perfectly clear to anyone in the broadcasting room. The girl wanted revenge, not just on the students who died, but also on the cowardly rat hiding in this broadcasting room. The moment I finished speaking, Mr. Liu, suspended in midair, suddenly widened his eyes, furious to the point that the corners of his eyes seemed to crack. His darkest secret had been exposed, and he struggled even more violently than before. Save me! Those are all lies, nonsense. He still refused to admit it. The Justice card suddenly shot forward, embedding itself directly into his throat. Mr. Liu clutched his throat in shock, his eyes wide with terror. The next moment, his body fell straight down, hitting the ground forcefully, not like a freefall, but as if slammed into the earth. His head burst open. Just as the comment said, he was completely dead. The shamaness suddenly snapped out of it, screaming, "No, my 600,000 yuan is gone." Didn't she promise to spare him? My eyes widened. She had never promised to spare Mr. Liu. Ah no, the intention was that she needed us to get justice for her. That was the condition for us to escape alive. The young priestess, who had been silent for a while, suddenly spoke up. But we can't get out, so how can we get justice? We can. Immediately after, I asked one last question into the empty air. Where is your body? A student died in the school, and then it became haunted. Everyone saw the female ghost, but no one questioned the body of the murdered student. This showed that the people in the school essentially didn't know this student had died. This meant Mr. Liu must have disposed of the body to avoid exposure, and most likely buried it right in this school. A card appeared in my hand, the familiar 10 of Swords. A person stabbed to death by 10 swords by a lake, by the artificial lake of the school. I don't know if the female ghost had retracted her aura or not, but the young priestess's compass finally started working normally again. The compass needle led us around the lake, and it actually brought us right next to the body of Alex, the youngest disciple, who had drowned. I recalled when I did the tarot reading at the crossroads. The card pointing to the artificial lake on the right also showed the 10 of Swords, and ultimately Alex drowned. Simultaneously, the devil card appeared when going left. I thought it only referred to the evil spirit, but unexpectedly, it actually referred to Mr. Liu. That evil spirit. I couldn't help but wonder if all this was a coincidence or fate. The few of us awkwardly started digging. Sure enough, after digging for a long time, Father Michael pulled out a foul-smelling corpse with one hand. The body was completely decomposed, but it was still wearing the school's uniform. We were silent for a moment. Father Michael stood up, closed his eyes, and with a solemn expression, chanted prayers for the wronged soul. Perhaps those who were hated had all died, and the body had also seen the light of day again. Just waiting for justice to arrive, the young priestess's compass completely stopped spinning. The female ghost's resentful energy dissipated. She, along with Father Michael's prayers, left the mortal realm. My phone suddenly got a signal. Ding dong asterisk, 2 messages. My dad sent a text. Just saw your note, don't ruin my sword. I thought for a moment and asked him, if a body with strong resentment is buried by a lake, does it easily become a malevolent spirit? He replied, water is a vital current, foul energy breaks the vital current, blood entering water, murderous energy soars to the sky, a body soaked in a spring, the ghost gate opens. In short, the feng shui won't be good. But why are you asking this? I smiled. Nothing, just waiting to come home for dinner. I put down my phone and suddenly saw a new group chat. In the group were me, the young priestess, Father Michael, the shamaness, and even the deceased Mr. Liu. Congratulations, masters, on successfully exorcising the demon. But don't forget, only one person can receive the remaining payment. Smiley face emoji. Only one person, remember. Immediately, the atmosphere abruptly changed. Why is it Mr. Liu? Who else is pretending to be a ghost? I was surprised. But before I could finish, Father Michael suddenly ripped the cross from his neck, pulled out the lower part, and it transformed into a small dagger. And the next second, that dagger plunged into my stomach. I quickly put my hand out to block it, but a searing pain engulfed me. Blood oozed from my fingertips, and I collapsed, utterly incredulous. Curses mixed with sounds of fighting echoed in my ears. I squeezed my eyes shut, waiting for them to determine the victor. The thick stack of tarot cards in my pocket had blocked a knife thrust. The blood on me was only from a wound on the back of my hand. The comments were speechless for me. No way, again? The streamer is faking death again? Why not just say it's second nature by now? The chaotic sounds gradually subsided. I secretly opened one eye. I saw the young priestess and the shamaness lying slumped on the ground, covered in blood, having suffered several knife wounds, their eyes vacant. As for Father Michael, the one who had killed everyone, he let out a sigh of relief. The layers of fat on his body seemed to deflate, making him look even larger than before. He removed his blood-stained priest's robe and walked heavy-footed towards the lake. But it seemed the struggle had exhausted him. His foot slipped, and he tumbled into the lake like a ball. Algae wrapped around him. The more he struggled, the faster he sank. He actually died right next to Alex, the youngest disciple. This lake now had a few more bodies. The water was murky, the qi dissipated. The feng shui must be even worse. Only then did I awkwardly crawl up from the ground and check the young priestesses and the shamaness's breaths ice cold. Both women were dead. Comments flew by. Streamer, you won again without doing anything. How do I even describe you? Accept the victory? Accept +1? You all accept, then I'll accept too. In the group chat, the latest message popped up. Mr. Liu, congratulations, Master Yu Yu. I'll wait for you at the school gate. I wearily stepped out of the school. The The main gate, which had been locked tight before, was now wide open. A luxurious car was parked right in front of the gate. I stopped. Hadn't Mr. Liu died? What was with this car? Were they using Mr. Liu's account to pretend to be ghosts? Suddenly, from the back seat, two burly men stepped out and pulled me into the car. I recognized them as Mr. Wu's bodyguards. Cold sweat broke out on my back. "What do you want?" I asked, wary. The man in the passenger seat turned and threw a black bag at me. I opened it. It was full of money. "Why are you giving me money?" I was bewildered. The man smiled, pointing at the private school. "The remaining 600,000 yuan payment was promised earlier. Has Master Gu forgotten? This is our boss's school. Our boss is the one who hired you. Now that the mission is complete, shouldn't you go meet him?" My heart grew colder and colder. I asked desperately, "Who is your boss?" The man smirked. "Mr. Wu, didn't you already realize? Don't worry, he just has one more small task that Master Gu needs to help with. Let's go, time for the next mission."